All right. Hello from the Career Center at Yeshiva University. My name is Jim Mackwater, the Assistant Director. Tonight, my topic is going to be, as you see on the screen here, avoiding the digital black hole, how not to let the AI think for us. Just trying to take control of your job search, and also talk a little bit about applicant tracking system software to understand how it all works together. Can you see my screen okay? Okay, so that's good. So our vision of our Career Center, we're here to support the leaders of tomorrow, to be able to think strategically about designing their careers while in college and graduation for life. And as a mission to keep us moving forward and to help you as you move through your career at Yeshiva University. A little bit about myself, that is a pre-COVID haircut or pre-non-COVID haircut. Many years experience in the higher education field, experience it from public to private institutions, for-profit, non-profit, all areas of career services, from all elements of employer relations to all aspects of career coaching. And glad to be here and with you tonight. So to get started in this, I'm going to jump back and forth from my slideshow to understanding, jumping to the webpage to go through this. So more demonstration. First thing first to talk about when we search for things, understand there's a term called Boolean Logic or Boolean search terms. When I meet with students, I usually talk about this and I say, well, when we Google something, Google could be our friend, Google could also be our enemy. You get 5 million hits. So I ask students about Boolean logic, and if they're not a computer science student, usually they do not familiar with the term, but then I point out, like any of us, if you put things in exact quotes, you get exact return. So the most important thing to understand is you can use the and, or, not, nor. And that's what I'll talk about some more when I get into the Indeed and show the advanced search terminology. But basically, when you look for a job, one could very easily just, of course, type in accounting, internships, New York City. And again, like I said, you'll get some hits, but then you'll get way too many to be overwhelmed. Understand that's the whole point of the AI and Google and any others is what's happening is the algorithm is trying to think for us and trying to anticipate our every move. And I find that personally annoying. It's like I can think for myself, but with that aside, algorithms themselves supposedly make things easier, and sometimes they're definitely not. Understand there's different algorithms, like for instance, within our YUCL accounts, so students set their accounts, they ask you a million things about you and what you're looking for, which I understand is very annoying, and most of us kind of click through it. But it's trying to play matchmaker on the back end. Ditto for YUMVP, ditto for any handshake systems, any type of software any school uses when it comes to career services. Again, they're trying to make the connection between employers and students easier, which I find sometimes extremely frustrating if you're not understanding the background behind it. Let me let someone in here. So we have a guest joining us right now. Hello, thanks for joining us. We're being recorded at the moment, so just jumping in here, just going over things. It just started, so didn't miss too much. So we're talking here just to understand algorithms and having the computer systems think for us and understanding what you must do, especially like for creating your YECL or YUMVP account, is you got to make sure that you are typing the correct parameters. The challenge, of course, is the parameters they give us sometimes is not as helpful as we want them to be. The other problem is, just as I talk about when I meet with students, we talk about resumes being ludicrous and old-fashioned technology, trying to be one size fits all. Well, that's not very helpful because, so if you're looking in the area of finance, there's a multiplicity of options, just like computer science. It's even more options. So even if your major is even accounting, though, even within accounting itself, it seems so straightforward, but you might be in auditing, taxation, depending where you're looking. Again, these algorithms only work if it's one size fits all. Like for instance, if I was working for a student who's doing bioinformatics, Okay, now the algorithm might work, but might not know what the heck that is, but at least you have something very specific and narrow. Algorithms are very helpful. It's very appealing to get these algorithms to understand and say, hey, here, I'll find a job and internship for you. Well, sure, go right ahead. Well, the challenge is usually doesn't, if we do get something, it's not what we want. And it's also the true lesson of any computer programming, everyone knows, garbage in and garbage out. So it all has to do with what we're putting on the back end is what we're going to get on the front end. And same thing for ourselves. Like I said, YUCR, YUMP, MVP, it's a matter of picking exactly what you need and understanding, collecting the correct parameters when used. So moving within Indeed itself, the reason I start with Indeed is it is basically, one size fits all, or the best one-stop shop. And I'll also talk about how Indeed it can be very helpful, and Indeed can also be very confusing and not so helpful. So Indeed itself is an algorithm, and if you understand, I've worked with Indeed many times everywhere I've worked. Their campus ambassadors have come on campus when we were on campus, everywhere I've been. So I understand also how they monetize. I'll tell you in a second. But really, though, Indeed, think about it, is an algorithm. It's not a company. What I've been told, and I don't think it's changed, is if a job or internship is posted on a website, Indeed will grab it. They do not pull from a job board. LinkedIn is a job board. LinkedIn is a job board. There's many good jobs there, many good internships. The thing is, if I'm a recruiter, I pay a lot of money to post on LinkedIn. And of course, you're going to get a higher traffic and higher competition too. So that's why I would say Indeed is a great one-stop shop to get going in the right direction. Also, it's a very valuable research tool, just not only for positions, but for future networking and identifying companies. So, and also just even simply identifying just what a position might look like. And I'll talk about that in a second too. But do keep that in mind. Indeed is a great place to start. I'm also assuming in many things here, if you ever see a job you like or internship, of course you should be applying. Also, for many large organizations, they already have their own portal where you could set up your own little account, email me every time an internship or a job shows up, go with it. I'm assuming already doing that. So Indeed becomes kind of redundant. So to jump into Indeed itself. So to explain a few things on Indeed is within, I'm going to double check here too, my screen share to make sure I'm showing my view. Okay, good. Making sure. So we see here, okay, so this is Indeed, this is their homepage. Yeah, so much for privacy. It's already trying to guess where I live, and even though in incognito mode, there is no privacy. So there. The other thing Indeed will keep poking you. Upload your resume, sign in. You don't have to do that. There is an advantage of signing in. I'll explain later when we do the advanced search. Upload your resume again, unless your resume is one size fits all, as I just discussed previously, just briefly, it doesn't help. I mean, even if you're looking for finance, Indeed doesn't know what to do unless you're giving something specific, as I said, like bioinformatics. Then Indeed might be really helpful. So I always tell students to skip right past this, ignore this, to go to the second page. Okay, so the Boolean logic that I mentioned, the and, or, not, nor, putting things in exact quotes, it's all here in the Indeed Advanced Job Search. So, as you see, exact phrase, at least one of these words. None of these words. Most students don't want to do sales. No offense to my friends who are in sales. Maybe they'll do sales. I try to be in sales. No offense to them, but the point is, there's ways to exclude things you don't need, or what. And then there's also geographic search and all this too. So this advanced job search is extremely helpful when you start. You also have to kind of dig into some positions. Like I said, within finance too, when I've been working with students, well, I want to be a financial analyst. Well, that's great too. Well, no, if you start looking at even these internship descriptions, where are you want to do aviation? You're going to do medical? You want to do pharmaceutical? Do you want to do? So this is where your advanced job search is very helpful. Just keep this in the back of your mind. And this does the Boolean logic for you, as I mentioned, the Google search. From what I've been told, and ignore all these prompts, from what I've been told, when we sign in to Indeed, if we do create an account, your advanced job search shows up, and bear with, this is what Indeed doesn't like you to do either. What'll happen is your searches will show up here. The challenge is we cannot rename them, but it'll show you some of the words you might have used, like financial analyst and pharmacy and New York City, and or whatever you might have used. it'll be here. So advanced job search takes time to get to the sweet spot, but sometimes it just helps to dig around here. So as a sample here, I'll use what I just mentioned about just finance. The autofill is one thing they moved over here to the what from advanced job search, and it's become a lot better. So here for our example here, I'll just click finance. Again, so much for privacy. I'll just do the generic New York zip code. Now for good or bad, COVID has opened up many doors of opportunity. You can work anywhere remotely here for the next while till we settle things down. As you can see too, Indeed has already included a remote option too. So you can actually do a nationwide search. Of course, here for my sample, of course, we're already getting 3,000. Okay, that's not helpful. So we need to get down to internship. Oh, okay, now we're down to 49. That's not too bad. So right now, even if I'm a first year sophomore, just trying to figure things out, I'm interested in finance possibly as a career, to students who are the junior, senior year looking for from internships themselves, this is helpful either way for a couple reasons. Now, so now we're down to 49 jobs. I think we can take time looking at this. We can also kind of drill it down a little more. It's also interesting when they do experience level. I hope it's entry level because it is an internship. So a couple things about Indeed. This is how they monetize. So just so you know, and because I have to mention too, because I've been in Indeed many times, great headquarters, lovely place to work, I'm sure, for the sales team. I'm not making any money from Indeed, so here we go. What Indeed does is it'll leave jobs up here forever. So if you see 30 days ago, so, well, today that's good, but 30 days ago, what they're doing is leaving it here. So what they'll then do is tell a company, hey, 5,000 people applied for, clicked on your position, you should pay us money. Also, they say that supposedly us as humans, when we Google something, that we look at the top few results and the bottom few on the page. I never look at the bottom few, but the top few are usually ads. I skip those. Okay, that's what Indeed's doing here too. So they'll tell 1847 Holdings, hey, pay us some money. So sometimes, I mean, it's good. They really need someone, or they really need someone, so you got to play it by ear. The other thing, the way Indeed monetizes is right there. If you see apply now, I call this piggybacking. What they're doing here looks like you're applying, but no, Indeed's adding a little bit of programming code. So when you hit continue, you end up going to their website, and then Indeed goes back to 1847 Holdings and said, hey, we had 3,000 people apply, you should pay us money. So with that said and done, I would say, if you like 1847 Holdings, go to their website. Now, a couple of things are going on here too. Of course, private equity. Oh yes, I love private equity. Let's look at this. Oh, this company looks interesting. I could do some of this too. I'm kind of interesting. Wait, $2,500 a month? Wait, okay. Oh, well, maybe it's good. Maybe it's a good fit, maybe not. Sometimes some things are too good to be true. Also, it's kind of confusing. They're calling this an internship, but they need 2 years of accounting. So, that's why they need a CPA. Well, okay, that's good to research. But hey, we know PayPal. Oh, okay. Internship, let's go through this here too. Oh, bachelor's, master's, oh, okay. So good. Two things are going on here. Wow, this is something I might be interested in. Oh, or if I'm interested in majoring in finance or accounting and I want a future internship, oh, SAP, Python, Tableau, okay. I should know variance analyst. Oh, okay, I didn't study that yet, but I will be. There's little hints in everything we've got going here. So it's a wonderful research tool to say, what could I do? What would I do? But also to help drill it down to going, okay, what are some keywords? Of course, Morgan Stanley's great. What are some keywords you're looking for that I would like to do? Now, here's a challenge of some internship descriptions. This isn't very helpful at all. It's very short. And when you go to the Morgan Stanley website, you'll find it's very detailed. So sometimes helpful, sometimes not. Many things going on here. For me, I'm an Excel spreadsheet kind of guy. My target companies, as I said, I'm assuming you already know the big companies. You should camp out on the websites. It's finding the smaller, mid-sized companies, or even smaller ones to get your foot in the door. Like even here, just entry-level position. Is this somebody for, okay, this is commission, so we probably don't want that. Versus, oh, where's this little real estate development? Never heard of this company. Maybe they're a smaller company, maybe a big company. I'm not sure. I don't know. Oh, but it's a company that speaks to me. Now I'm getting some companies on my radar. So now it's all about combining these things together. So you go, oh, not only if you see an internship, you choose apply, but now it's time to go put some of these companies onto my radar and go, now then it's time to jump on the LinkedIn. do some searching. Are there YU alums, friend, family, cousins, aunts, uncles working there? And all the whole process of the searches, another conversation, another time. But it's also just very helpful here to just uncover many different opportunities. Also, again, finding keywords, going back here to use the advanced search, tweaking, adjusting as we go. So pretty much that's straightforward. That's pretty much Indeed's overview of how they get going. And as I said, now we're getting our conversation. So that's Indeed at the moment. I'll handle questions at the end also, if anyone has any. But any of these things, that was just a quick overview. I just gave you the tip of the iceberg. Indeed does take some time. You definitely got to dig around, got to play around with advanced search, understanding the terminology. But that's also another very helpful term too for many students. Just, Jim, what are all these job titles? You know, even the company themselves, they're not even sure what to call you, even as an entry-level position. They call you an associate. What is that? So you can finally see what they're digging around in there too. And it's just a great research tool. Something else I'd like to bring up too is that it is helpful in the research part is understanding something also called idealist. I only bring this up sometimes too is because it is a job board, but it is also something to understand. It uses algorithms also to assist us. The best thing about Idealist, understand it's a job board for nonprofits. Basically, volunteer positions, they charge no money. Internships, they charge like 10, 20 bucks. Jobs, 30 bucks, 40 bucks. I've been to their headquarters, a lot smaller than Indeed's. Lovely people. So if you ever see any opportunities here, and many times for students to say, Jim, I need to get some experience onto, I just need experience. Even now with COVID, I'm gonna do something remote. Even during my fall semester, it's crowded, it's packed, but I want to talk to some people. I want to network. Oh, use Idealist too. You might find some nonprofit organizations that you work with, but like even for finance students, they have CFOs. Chat with them, get to know them. And of course, if it's an organization that speaks to you, of course, it helps to give back to the community, even remotely too. So there are other opportunities. The reason I like bringing up Idealist too is just understand it is a job board. So Indeed would not uncover these positions unless a company posted a job or internship, then Indeed might find it. My favorite thing in Indeed, Idealist too, is again, it likes to think for us, but I always tell students to narrow it down through different issue areas that might be important to you. Also, you can search within the Jewish community or without the Jewish community too, either one, within these areas also to uncover many wonderful organizations. Like I mentioned too, it's sometimes just thinking outside the box sometimes just to get some experience onto our resume. But also it's a wonderful time to network with folks, chat with folks, and the experience of resume usually barriers entry a lot lower. They love volunteers. Nonprofits always need help. So it's just a nice way to kind of combine many things to help ourselves out, help other organizations out too, and feel good about doing it also. So something else to keep in mind and understand, just again, using the search to our advantage also. The last thing I'm going to chat about before I get into some questions too is to talk about the good old applicant tracking system software. They're called ATS. You got to imagine being a large organization. Most businesses, especially any business, modern times, usually the first place they cut back is in human resources. So anyone I know who is in human resources, sourcing for positions there, oh, their heads are on fire. They have way too much work and not enough time. So especially for these large organizations, when a Morgan Stanley or a Deloitte internship, they'll get thousands of applicants every time. A human being cannot go through this. So they will utilize a computer program, which also uses algorithms to match keywords and phrases to sort out. At the end of the day, so a human being can then go through, instead of 5,000 applicants, they can have maybe 50 to choose from. The computer selected them. Of course, this brings up a lot of ethical arguments and back and forth main discussions, which we won't get into right now, saying a computer thinking for us or not. But then again, people would say for the other side, for diversity and inclusion, we have inherent biases, so a computer is neutral. Again, the problem is garbage in, garbage out. And sometimes, as I mentioned too, if an internship description is not very strong, I need a hardworking team player, or even for instance, our students are looking for accounting internships next year or 2 years from now. Like, Jim, I mean, you had auditing class. I haven't had taxation. I haven't had any of these classes they want to interview me for. Exactly. You will not, an ATS will not work. It's helpful for entry-level positions when they want to say, okay, I'm looking for someone with auditing. Auditing is a key word to look for. Again, the system is not perfect. They're trying to make our lives a little easier, but it's never the best. So it's understanding how do we outwit and outthink these systems. So when I meet with any student, talk about developing a resume, I was talking about resume development from the big picture all the way down to, yes, it sounds common sense, but yes, you should, just like a cover letter for every position, if they ask for it, you should tweak your resume for every position and apply for it too. We've had this illustration. We've worked with some students with JobScan. JobScan you can actually use for free for a few free scans on your own. It's very enlightening, even just to do their sample and show you how an ATS system works, and get into also about actually we'll get into sometimes different organizations, which ATSs they might use, hints and tricks. Like for instance, some systems don't recognize abbreviations like CPA or MBA. Believe it or not, a computer garbage in, garbage out does not know what that is. You must spell it out on a resume. And then I also talk to students about using ONET to outwit it. This is something I'd like to share with everybody also. Excuse me, would help to click on the right thing. onetonline.org, many of my fellow colleagues always mention it too. For myself, it's an interesting tool if you ever need help researching, I don't know what I want to do. All these things are great. The most important thing is this occupation quick search. And every time I meet with a student, let me backtrack. So when I first got into career coaching many years ago, the school I was at, JobScan was around back then too. I said, hey, let's see, how do you think your resume is? You're good? We're like, sure. So they took us through a scan and they scanned a resume and a job application. It was like, oh, we're not doing as well as we thought we were. Very interesting. Oh, what is this word clouds? What is these keywords? What is an algorithm? Okay, I know what algorithm is, but the point was, that's fascinating. So long story short, as a school, we didn't decide not to use it because financially it wasn't feasible for our organization. But the point was, from that point forward, every time I meet with a student, alum, anybody, I point out ONET, especially when it comes to writing resume job bullets to understand to defeat the ATS. So this is where it's very helpful. I usually give many examples when I work with a student, looking at the resume, looking what they've done. So right now, again, I'm just going to play around with certain things. Like for instance, many students have worked in camp. So here's the problem. If you type in camp counselor, or excuse me, just camp counselor, ONET's very confused. It doesn't know what it is. It's not quite sure. Versus if you type in camp counselor, recreation worker. So this is very interesting. You open up the task and you take a look and go, oh my gosh, wait. If you read these, I'll read some intentionally. I know maybe the screen's a little smaller, but I know you can check this out later. But enforce rules and regulations. Recreational facilities maintain discipline and ensure safety. Organize, lead, and promote activity. It's like, wait. Students go, Jim, is this, is this? I don't talk this way, neither do I. It's like, yeah, it sounds like a computer wrote it. And it's like, yes, actually, this is a compiler. And what I've been told is, I always love the old, so supposedly someone in the government said, let's describe what everyone does. So these bullets, these are called word clouds. Now, of course, unless you're getting into the education field in the future or working with youth, right, you would want to add to this. Now, of course, the rule number one in resume, never lie. Of course not. Is this embellishment? Yes, of course it is. So it helps to use. I always tell students, beg, borrow, steal. Don't just copy them word for word. But it's also very helpful. And another side is like, wow, I did that internship 3 years ago. I can't remember anything. What did I do? I'm like, oh yeah, I did that. I did that. Well, it's the same thing when you look at a job description going, oh yeah, I did that. I did that. Oops, I forgot to put it on my resume. Right. So it's very interesting here, like I said. So when you also now, wait, financial analyst, oh, now we're really getting to the nitty gritty of specifics. Again, it's non-general specific, but if you do a financial analyst internship, oh, these are helpful terminology to build on and change and add to. It's very helpful to understand, what's going on in these word clouds. And again, it helps defeat the applicant tracking system because the applicant tracking system software, guess where it's getting its algorithm data from? Exactly. It's using these word clouds to program the algorithm. I'll just share even many times I've had employers go, Jim, I need help writing internship descriptions, job descriptions. I go to ONET. And they're like, thank you. So if you ever see a job description that looks close to this, you'll know exactly where human resources got this from. So, it's understanding what is going on here and, where it's helpful. The challenge also, too, is sometimes in ONET, type in what you did. Sometimes you type in your job description. Sometimes you type in your job title. But for instance, students in marketing do lots of social media. At least finally here, social media is search marketing strategists. So students who are in this realm, conduct online marketing initiatives. This is played ad placement. Oh yeah, I've done that in my internship. Yeah. Next, I have 2 sons in college. They're assuming, oh, you guys know all the internet. You can do this. So, right, this is if you ever do this, pushing out social media for anybody. And then also if you do the analytics, web metrics, that's the back end here. Here it is, it's hiding. So it's just very helpful to, get your job bullets going in the right direction, help build it out. And again, help defeat the lovely applicant tracking system software packages. So again, remember rememployers, no offense to anyone, they're skimming through resumes in a few seconds. They're just trying to, get information from the resume to say, oh my gosh, I need to call you. Remember, your resume is your marketing tool, your cover letter is your marketing tool. So the challenge is, of course, can you speak about your resume? So of course, if you just kind of blandly just threw these on here and then can't talk about them, it's pretty obvious. But I also bring up the students many times too, people can hire a resume writer. Of course they can. The challenge is, of course, your interview, if you can't speak of your resume, it's going to be blatantly obvious. So understand what we have here. This is a powerful tool. Understand its usages and not to abuse it or overuse it. And other times too, other jobs, I also understand, like for instance, many students, if they've done business development, it won't show up. But if you look up sales, it would show up about the cold calling that many students have done too. That's just another example too. So ONET just takes some time to work, always here to help support you as we go through it. So this is where we have all of our information. This is being recorded, then it'll be put here onto our YUCC Canvas page. Also on our YouTube channel, we'll have all these saved to go back for reference. And also something about our Career Center too. You can use the QR code if you like from your phone. We have walk-in appointments here. We're here for you virtually. We also have walk-ins sometimes. I always tell students the walk-ins, that's great for a very quick question. Or just to say, hey, I need to set up an appointment, then we'll shoot an email or get on the phone and set up an appointment. But walk-in's helpful if you have a quick question like, oh, I'm not sure about this, or what should I do on my resume? If it's a quick answer, then of course, live chat's wonderful. But it's also to open up the window of communication always. And then, we're here for you. You can use YECL. I always tell students, for myself too, if you're going to email me, please do. Just shoot me your availability. I know your students' schedules are always impacted, very busy. So, hey, Jim, I got, Tuesday, Thursday, 1 to 3, and Wednesday at 4. What do you got? I could shoot you back and tell what we got going on. Also, something else too, definitely understand that you should always use your YU email. Use your YU email. So when we contact students, when you're going through live chat, when you're on your YUCL, we have to use your YU email so we can confirm your account. To wrap this up, and you can see my old MacBook Pro is having its challenges. I will stop my screen sharing. So are there any questions? You can, there's just a few of us, so if you'd like, you can unmute yourself and jump in or throw something in the chat if you have a question. Okay. No question. If something pops up, of course, we're here for you anytime. Reach out to me or any of my great colleagues. Definitely here to support you. Thanks again for joining me. Take care, be well, and stay in touch. And we're here for you throughout your career. Give us a holler.